Look around the room you're sitting in right now. You see glowing screens and solid walls. It feels like a permanent world built to last forever. You feel completely secure. But the real answer is far stranger. What if humanity disappeared today? Your world is built on a fragile system. It requires constant human attention. When that attention stops, the clock starts ticking. Everything you know will vanish. Have you ever wondered how fast it would all collapse? The first few hours are completely silent. You're gone. The power grids around the globe are still running on autopilot. They are blindly feeding electricity to empty homes. But how long can the machines survive without their masters? At fossil fuel plants, the fires begin to die out. There is no one to feed the coal. There is no one to monitor the pressure. The massive turbines slowly grind to a halt. Can you imagine the darkness spreading across the planet? Lights flicker out in New York. The glowing streets of Tokyo go pitch black. The hum of civilization finally stops. Only the wind remains. Who is left to hear it? Underground, a different crisis is unfolding. The pumps keeping city subways dry suddenly lose their power. Water begins to seep through the concrete cracks. It rushes into the tunnels without mercy. Did you know your cities are constantly fighting the ocean? Within 36 hours, the subways of London and New York are completely submerged. They become dark, toxic rivers. Above ground, your pets are waking up. They are hungry. What happens to the animals we trapped in our homes? Your dog waits by the door, your cat paces the living room, the water bowls are completely bone dry. Instinct begins to override their domestic training. Will they break out or will they starve? The pets that manage to escape face a brutal new reality. The tiny dogs do not stand a chance. They become immediate prey. The larger dogs form wild packs to hunt. Could your loyal companion become a ruthless predator? Out in the country, the situation is even more desperate. Millions of cows and chickens are trapped in massive industrial farms. The automated feeding machines have stopped working. The electric fences lose their deadly charge. How will our engineered food survive in the wild? The vast majority of livestock will quickly perish. They are simply too specialized to survive on their own. But the domestic pig is a completely different story. They will break out and undergo a rapid physical transformation. Did you know a domestic pig can grow tusks and thick fur in a matter of months? In the empty cities, the zoo animals are getting desperate. The glass enclosures cannot hold them forever. The hungry lions and tigers finally break through the glass. They step out into the concrete jungle. What happens when apex predators reclaim the streets of Chicago? A week passes in total silence. The safety systems at nuclear power plants are failing. The backup diesel generators run completely out of fuel. The cooling pools begin to boil. Are we about to destroy the world one last time? The water evaporates completely. The radioactive cores melt through their steel containment vessels. A series of massive explosions rock the northern hemisphere. Radiation clouds blanket the sky. How will nature survive this deadly invisible fire? The immediate blast zones become highly toxic wastelands. But something incredible happens next. Nature does not just survive the radiation, it actively thrives in the absolute absence of human interference. Did you know radiation is less deadly to animals than our cities are? This is not just a wild theory. Look at the real world. Environmental scientist Dr. Jim Smith has studied the Chernobyl exclusion zone for decades. He found that animal populations absolutely exploded after humans evacuated the radioactive zone. What if human presence is the true disaster? In this new world without us, the skies begin to change. The thick smog over Los Angeles clears up completely. The air becomes crisp and remarkably clean. Visibility stretches for hundreds of miles. Can you picture the stars shining brighter than ever before? The oceans are experiencing a sudden and profound silence. The deafening roar of massive cargo ships completely stops. The military sonar that tortures marine life goes quiet. The whales can finally hear each other across entire oceans. Have we been deafening the deep for centuries? A month goes by slowly. The cities are starting to look very different. Weeds push through the cracks in the pavement. Vines crawl up the sides of glass skyscrapers. How long until the forest reclaims the concrete jungle? Predators begin to wander into the empty streets. Coyotes trot down the center of Broadway. Bears forage through the rotting remains of grocery stores. The sounds of traffic are replaced by the howling of wolves. Is this what the world was always meant to sound like? Chemical plants around the world undergo violent catastrophic failures. Huge vats of industrial chemicals boil over and spill into the surrounding rivers. The water turns toxic and kills millions of fish. It seems like the earth is dying a second time. How much poison did we leave behind? But surprisingly, nature is incredibly adaptable. Special microbes begin to feast on the toxic chemical spills. They actually eat the harmful compounds. They slowly clean the water over the course of decades. Did you know the Earth has an immune system of its own? A year later, the harsh realities of weather take their toll. Winter arrives. Water seeps into the cracks of roads and freezes solid. The expanding ice rips the asphalt to shreds. Have you noticed how quickly nature exploits our weaknesses? Without heated buildings, the freeze and thaw cycle destroys your homes. Windows shatter, roofs collapse under the heavy weight of unshoveled snow. The wood rots away quickly. Who will be left to mourn the loss of our great architecture? High above the Earth, another collapse is happening. The satellites you relied on for GPS are falling out of orbit. They streak across the night sky like dying meteors. They burn up completely in the atmosphere. Did you really think our technology was immortal? In the atmosphere, the International Space Station is still orbiting blindly. It circles the Earth in complete and utter silence. Without human correction, its orbit slowly begins to decay. It gets closer to the atmosphere every single day. Who will watch it finally fall from the sky? It hits the upper atmosphere and burns incredibly bright. It tears across the sky like a massive artificial comet. The metal vaporizes into nothingness. The greatest engineering achievement in human history simply disappears. Are our highest ambitions destined to be forgotten? Decades pass in this quiet new world. The steel bridges that connected our cities begin to rust heavily. The massive suspension cables snap one by one. The bridges plunge violently into the rivers below. What happens to the cities built on the water? Journalist Alan Wiseman investigated this very question in his profound book, The World Without Us. He discovered that without human maintenance, nature's forces are utterly relentless. Water is the ultimate destroyer of human engineering. Can anything withstand the slow march of time? The oceans are experiencing a massive, miraculous recovery. There are no massive fishing fleets scraping the ocean floor. The coral reefs begin to heal themselves. The fish populations return to their ancient historical numbers. Have we finally given the ocean room to breathe? As the decades turn into a century, human knowledge begins to vanish. The billions of books in our libraries succumb to mold. The digital servers holding the internet have long since rusted away. The sum total of human history is erasing itself. What will be left to prove we were smart? The Eiffel Tower eventually succumbs to the relentless rust. Its iron legs buckle under the strain. It crashes down into the overgrown swamps of Paris. The Statue of Liberty remains standing just a bit longer. Did you know she is made of copper and will just turn entirely green? Deep underground in the Arctic, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault sits completely frozen. It holds millions of seeds from every single crop on Earth. It was designed to survive the apocalypse. The ice slowly encroaches and freezes it shut forever. Will these seeds ever see the light of day again? Without humans spraying endless pesticides, the insect populations experience a massive boom. Bees return to the overgrown cities in giant swarms. Mosquitoes multiply in the flooded subway tunnels. The world begins to buzz with intense life. Did we underestimate the power of the smallest creatures? In the American West, a massive structure is still working. The Hoover Dam was built perfectly. Its massive concrete walls hold back the mighty Colorado River. Its automated generators continue humming in the dark for years. Will it be the last machine left alive? Eventually, the intakes clog with natural debris. The massive turbines stop turning. The water spills over the top of the mighty dam. It finally shatters the concrete into a million pieces. Can anything built by human hands truly last forever? A century later, the world is almost unrecognizable. Your neighborhood is a dense, sprawling forest. The glass skyscrapers are completely falling apart. Their steel skeletons collapse into massive piles of rubble. Do you think there's any trace of us left? The animals have taken over entirely. The descendants of your pets are completely wild. They look like wolves. They act like wolves. Did evolution simply wait for us to get out of the way? Bird populations absolutely explode across the globe. The massive glass windows that used to kill millions of birds are entirely shattered. The tall communication towers have completely fallen down. The skies belong to them once again. Have we always been the cage keeping them trapped? 500 years pass. The climate has largely stabilized. The excess carbon dioxide we pumped into the air has been absorbed by the massive new forests. The Earth has effectively healed its fever. Was humanity just a temporary sickness on this beautiful planet? The only things left standing are the massive stone monuments. The pyramids of Giza still rest firmly in the desert. Mount Rushmore stares out over an completely empty continent. The Great Wall of China crumbles incredibly slowly. What will be our very final legacy? 1,000 years into the future, the plastics you used every single day are still here. They do not biodegrade easily. They break down into tiny microplastics. Will these toxic fragments become part of the Earth itself? Geologists call this concept the Anthropocene epoch. Dr. Jan Zalasiewicz studies how our modern cities will eventually fossilize into the Earth's crust. He predicts our plastics and concrete will form a distinct geological layer. Will future alien explorers read our story in the rocks? Millions of years pass slowly. The continents continue to drift apart. The sun continues to rise and set flawlessly. The world is teeming with bizarre and beautiful new life forms. Where do we fit into this vast cosmic timeline? Our sprawling cities are now just a thin layer of compressed rock. Our greatest achievements are buried deep underground. The Earth has completely forgotten we ever existed. It spins on silently in the beautiful dark. Do you realize how small we truly are? The universe does not need us to keep going. The rivers will flow without our permission. The forests will grow without our careful planning. The Earth will outlive us all. What is the real point of everything we build? So, what if humanity disappeared today?